Next up we have Jill, who is here, who is a part of the trade union movement in Rotherham, and as we know, workers and unions play such a pivotal role in the freedom for Palestine, and Jill is here to share solidarity from the union workers and workers of Rotherham. So welcome, Jill.
Thank you. I'm a member of the National Education Union in Rotherham, and I think, we're here because of our basic humanity. It's absolutely unbelievable that people are still trying to justify the unjustifiable. It is beyond any conception of humanity. They're trying to justify the murder, the torture, the massive destruction on such a scale. But I think as a trade unionist, as a teacher, when I look around what they've done to us, I know where that callousness comes from. We're the fifth largest economy in the world. We've got 3.8 million people that have experienced destitution in the fifth largest economy in the world. They could do something about it. Out of 39 countries in the overall League of Poverty, we're the 37th. There's only 2 countries that have got higher levels of poverty than those, and that's Turkey and Colombia. And yet, the wealth that's flooding in this country is absolutely staggering. My trade union is saying that over 80% of schools are having to feed and clothe so many numbers of their children in schools. I keep banging on about it, so I'm so angry. Got the largest class sizes in the world, apart from 3 other countries. But it's all, it's that the content with which they treat us is obviously how if they can look us in the faces and lie and treat us with absolute contempt, then obviously they're not going to care about what's happening in Palestine and in the Middle East. Because the government contracts that are flooding about, and I do understand there's an Israeli company has got the government contracts to provide the software for what I believe is the Home Office, and I think it's the Department of Pensions. We can see that the two are absolutely linked together, and they're linked together because of one thing, and that's oil. I think the American general said that if they only grew carrots in the Middle East, Israel would not exist. So we know it's about oil, and we know that even though the climate is staggering at an alarming rate towards climate catastrophe, that they're still wedded on oil because that's where they make their money. And at a recent conference, all the leaders of these big companies, big multinationals, called some climate scientists to speak to them. And the climate scientists were so why do you want to talk to us? We're opposed to fossil fuels. And they said, we know what's happening, but we want to know how to look after ourselves and our wealth. And that's what it's all about, the imperialism, the capitalism, the oil and the wealth that creates for the very, very few, while the rest of us are left in horrendous situations. And I think now, what is absolutely fantastic, this is the biggest movement in Britain. It's bigger than the Vietnam movement. There's an estimate in the last few weeks since October, there's been 3 million people, ordinary people, on the streets shouting for calling out the government, stopping the genocide. And it shows how worried the government are, because they've got a better understanding of our power than we have. The fact that Gove is and all the rest of it, absolutely ramping the Islamophobia up to an absolutely disgusting stage, that they're calling out the Muslim Council of Rape, Brain Cage and Mend and put them in the same categories of extremism as 2 Nazi groups. That just shows that they're desperate. They want to ramp up the Islamophobia because they want to stigmatise and demonise any form of resistance. But I think it's quite significant on the 40th anniversary of the miners' strike, which was a fantastic struggle, and we nearly won. We could have won that. Despite the government spent billions trying to smash that strike, and they couldn't do it. We kept on for a year because of the solidarity shown by ordinary working people from across the world, and that's where we've got to hit them. That's where we bring this government down. And I think what we've got to remember as well, that we got the National Health Service just after the war. He even though the government was absolutely bankrupt, we got a massive debt. We got the National Health Service, the biggest building of council house and social housing ever known. We got that because the ruling class, the bosses, the same elite that's crushing us, trying to crush us now, they were absolutely terrified, and they said, give them a reform or they'll give us revolution. And I think that's a tradition we've got to start, we're standing in, and we've got to keep on fighting. So in solidarity from good old Rotherham, we'll keep on fighting. Thank you.